Today I'm making an Italian menu scaled down to serve just 2 people. Or 1 person and 1 dog, right, Ziggy? He's excited. We're gonna start it off with bruschetta. Now, not just any bruschetta, but bar none the best bruschetta you've ever had. It has ricotta and fresh cherry tomatoes, followed up by eggplant Parmesan. Yes, we're gonna bread and fry our own eggplant along with an arugula and bresaola salad. Last but not least, a little almond cake, personally sized, that I'm gonna serve with some fresh nectarines and a little whipped cream. Now we're gonna get started with the bruschetta, and I think this is why Ziggy's so excited, because he loves bread. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shut Ziggy up, give him a little piece. Nice. All right, now while we're at it, that was served 2 purposes, because I want to cut the end. I also want to slice some bread for the bruschetta. Slicing it about 1/2 inch thick. Now this is ciabatta, which is perfect for bruschetta. Any rustic bread will work here. You know, those generic Italian breads that you see at the supermarket, those work well. Now to serve 2 people, you just need 4 slices. This slice was a little skimpy, which is also known as a dog snack. Now for the topping, you want about 1 cup of cherry tomatoes. All right, so I'm just gonna quarter these cherry tomatoes. Now the key, besides using good tomatoes, is to get rid of some of their moisture, because that moisture is what soaks down into the bread and makes it soggy. So to do that, we're gonna take these tomatoes and we're gonna toss them with a little salt and a little sugar and let them hang out in a bowl. So here I have a bowl, put the tomatoes in. We're gonna add 1/8 of a teaspoon salt and a pinch of sugar. Now I'm just gonna toss this around, let it hang out 15-20 minutes. The salt and the sugar will not only enhance the flavor of the tomatoes, but really draw out some of that extra moisture. So we're gonna set this aside. Now onto that layer between the bread and the tomatoes. Some people just put tomatoes on bread, but if you add a little layer of ricotta, that's what makes this bruschetta amazing. So for 2 people, you don't need a lot of ricotta, just 1/4 of a cup. And this is the trick. We're gonna process it in this little food processor. That'll make it nice and smooth, and it gives us the opportunity to give it a little flavor. Into the ricotta, we're gonna add a little bit of salt, again, another 1/8 of a teaspoon, and a pinch of pepper. Now we're gonna blend this until it's smooth. It doesn't take very long. Now the other trick is we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil while it's running. And this lid has this handy little kind of trough in here with a hole. So while it's going, love that, it just drizzles it right in, just a tablespoon of olive oil. And this is the magic right here. All right, that's pretty good. Just gonna leave it right there. Now for the bread, you gotta toast it. Now for a big party, you'd have to toast it under the broiler because you want them all done at the same time. But if you're just serving 2 people, you can just use a toaster. The tomatoes have sat for about 15-20 minutes and they've released some of their juice, and I toasted the ciabatta. Now the thing about bruschetta, which makes it not just toast, but bruschetta, is that you rub a raw piece of garlic over the toasted bread. Imparts a really nice, mellow garlic flavor, but a raw garlic flavor. The toast kind of acts like sandpaper, and it just releases some of that garlic oil. You really only use about 1/2 of the clove. Season the bread with a little salt and pepper. And I have to say, seasoning all the components with salt and pepper is really pretty important. It just makes this bruschetta taste unbelievable. Now we're gonna spread this ricotta evenly over the toasts. This ricotta also acts kind of like an adhesive to help the tomatoes stay in place. That way they don't roll around as much. That's it. Now I'll set this aside for the tomatoes that have been sitting over here with the salt and the sugar. You can see there's a lot of liquid in there. I'm gonna drain that away in the sweetest little colander ever. Shake off any extra juices. Some tomatoes are juicier than others. These, not too much, but that extra juice really just makes the whole thing soggy. So it's nice to get rid of it. Now to this, we're gonna add a little bit of red wine vinegar, just a little bit of olive oil, and a pinch of pepper, again, seasoning everything. Toss this together. Put this on top of the toasts. My mouth is already watering. I really love this bruschetta. It's really easy to vary it if you want to. You want to put a little fancy tinned fish or anchovy on it, go all in. Maybe some deep fried capers, some olives, all of that would taste amazing here. Here I have some basil from my garden, which is exactly the size of a window box. It hangs just outside the back door. I also snipped some flowers from the oregano in the box, which I think will look pretty. Just gonna give this basil a quick chop, chopping at the last minute so it doesn't turn brown. Oh, it smells so good. Now for the flowers. It's the fun thing about growing your own herbs is when it flowers, if they go to seed and they start to flower, you can use those little flowers. They're like little edible garnishes. And that's it. That's the ultimate bruschetta. Now I'm gonna serve the bruschetta and the rest of the meal with an Italian wine. This is a Dolcetto d'Alba. Now this is a well-loved wine throughout Italy. It's actually recognized by the Italian government. Now Alba's in the northern part of Italy. Dolcetto means little sweet one. So this is a very easy drinking, fruity, low tannin wine. Goes great with vegetarian food. All right, going in. This bruschetta really is the best because of that ricotta. Adds this creaminess and it's well seasoned. It prevents the bread from getting soggy. You taste the sweet tartness of the tomatoes, that sharp hit of the garlic. My favorite way to enjoy this bruschetta, however, is on the patio. You get the fan out there in the summertime. It's a nice way to relax just before dinner. So I'm gonna pack everything up and head outside. Come on, Dolcetto. You get to come to the party too. Right, Ziggs? Let's motor. Coming up, we're gonna make eggplant Parmesan for two, using just a skillet, and serve it with an arugula salad.
Love our in-depth reviews? Get the latest from our reviews team delivered straight to your inbox. Our well-equipped cook newsletter provides top product picks, no-nonsense buying guides, and must-try recipes. No extra fluff, just the smartest ways to shop, save, and cook. Sign up for free now at americastestkitchen.com/newsletter.
Time to make eggplant Parmesan scaled down for just 2 people, which means you only need 1 little eggplant. Look at this sweet little eggplant. It's about 12, 13 ounces, plenty of food for 2 people. We're gonna set this aside because we have to build the breading station. Now this takes the most time out of the whole recipe, but it's not hard. You just need to have the 3 stations for breading, the first of which is flour. We're gonna use a bag for the flour, just half a cup, all-purpose flour. Don't have to be too precise here. Into the bag it goes. Then you gotta season the flour with some salt and pepper, about 1/4 teaspoon each. Shake it up. All right, moving on to the second dish. Second is egg. You're gonna need 2 eggs for this. And I like using these wide, shallow pie plates when I'm breading things. It just has a nice surface area. The rims on the side contain the egg and eventually the crumbs in the third plate. All right, that's good. And this, I consider this the most important of the plates. This is the crumb plate. So you're gonna need 2½ cups of panko. We use a lot of panko in this house. Now, depending on how big your eggplant is, if you can't find the sweet little ones, you might use a larger one. This has enough breading in case your eggplant is more like a pound. We're gonna flavor the panko with some finely grated Parmesan. Now we're gonna season it with a little salt and pepper, about ½ teaspoon of each. All right, on to the sweet little eggplant. I've washed this already. I'm gonna slice this eggplant into 1/4-inch thick slices. Usually get about 10 or 12. All right, right up to the neck. Okay, now for the breading. Into the bag it goes. You can add them all to the bag. This just makes it a lot easier. You can really make sure all the surfaces of the eggplant get coated in flour. Plus, it's kind of fun. And one at a time, I'm gonna take some eggplant, We're gonna put them in the egg, coat them thoroughly with egg. And again, it's this trio, flour, egg, and then breadcrumbs. That's really important so that the coating sticks to the eggplant. The eggplant is all breaded. Time to fry it up. Now I'm gonna use this pan. This is my favorite sort of all-purpose pan. It's 12 inches, pretty much nonstick, but a nonstick skillet would work too, as long as that skillet is oven worthy, because we're gonna finish this in the oven. Now for frying, we're gonna add about half a cup of oil. Now you can use vegetable oil, canola oil. I like using peanut oil because I like that flavor, but any vegetable oil would work. Gonna heat it up over medium-high heat until it's shimmering. In the meantime, I'm gonna clean up. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Oh, golden crumbs. Oh, this one is picture perfect. Yeah, just a few minutes on each side. All right, this one's done. You can see it's gorgeous on both sides. So I'm gonna pull it out. Things don't always cook absolutely evenly, so you pull them out as they finish. That one looks good. Oh, and you're good. All right. Now, if there are any big clumps of breadcrumbs, you can pull them out so they don't get stuck to the second batch. Otherwise, you can just put the second batch right in. All right, that's the last one. Now we're gonna build the eggplant Parmesan right in this skillet. There's a lot of drippings that are in there. We gotta get them out. So it's hot, so you wanna use a pot holder. We're gonna drain off the excess fat, and this is the one-handed maneuver. I'm gonna use a wad of paper towels and just brush out any of the drippings. So you have a nice clean skillet. Time to assemble the whole dish, and we're gonna go right back into this skillet. If it's hot, you wanna let it cool down a little bit before assembling. First thing we're gonna add is some tomato sauce. Now, your favorite kind of tomato sauce works well here. This is a shortcut that I think works great. If you wanna make your own, by all means, go ahead. We're gonna pour about 1.5 cups in the bottom. Just wanna cover the bottom. Now the fun part. We're gonna arrange the eggplant right on top of the sauce. Gonna shingle them a little bit. All right. Oh. So now we're gonna pour just about 1/2 cup sauce. You're just gonna drizzle it over the top because you really wanna preserve some of that crispness. As I do this, I'm really making sure I leave the outside edge, about 1 inch or so of the outside edge, clean of sauce and cheese so that it gets nice and crisp in the oven. Now for the cheese. This shredded mozzarella. You want about 1 cup of it. You know, it's part of the hallmark of a good eggplant parm is that gooey cheese on top. So I shredded this stuff myself. I like the flavor better than the pre-shredded stuff, and I like how it melts a bit better. But I have to say, those pre-shredded cheeses are getting better and better. All right, that's about 1 cup. A little more Parmigiana to really bring home that flavor. Okay, this beauty is ready for the oven. 400 degrees, only takes about 15 minutes for everything to really heat through and melt that cheese. The eggplant is out of the oven and it's a looker. It's bubbling around the edges. The cheese is a little browned on top. It's also ripping hot, so letting it cool a little bit before serving is pretty crucial. Just enough time for me to make a quick salad. Now this is Ian's favorite salad because it has meat in it. I'm gonna add bresaola. Now that's an air-dried beef. You know, every country has a version of it. This is Italian, and you can see it's usually sliced nice and thin. It's great as an appetizer or an antipasti. It also kind of gussies up a green salad, especially if the person you're serving, Ian, doesn't love salad. So I'm just gonna platter it up like this. I like having it show out from underneath the arugula. Hi, Ziggs. Oh, yeah, this does kind of look like a little dog treat, doesn't it? All right, so there's that. Now for the arugula salad, I'm gonna keep it really simple. This is baby arugula. Just gonna dress it with a little bit of olive oil. a little bit of fresh lemon juice. Last but not least, a little salt, a little pepper. All right, that's it. No fancy dressing, just letting the arugula speak for itself. Just gonna put it right down the center of the platter. There you go, perfect for two. And to top it off, we're gonna put a little bit of Parmesan on the top. To do that, I'm just gonna use a vegetable peeler, nice big hunk of Parm. I'm just gonna put some nice shreds of Parm over the top. Easy salad. I'd overdo it on the Parm a little bit again because I can get Ian to eat the salad if there's enough meat and cheese on there. Ah, that looks good. And this eggplant Parmesan has been cooling. Now time to just top it with a little more fresh basil. Oh, so good when you cut it right from the plant. You can't buy it that fresh, you know? You buy basil, it's like buying a ripe avocado. It's good for like 5 minutes and then it just turns black. All right, sprinkling it over top. Time to make a plate. First up, the salad. And now for the main event, the eggplant parm. Ooh. There's usually enough left over for me to have a little bit for lunch the next day. It fills the pan, but it's pretty flat, so it's less than it looks. Oh yeah. Oh, hello. Oh, and the wine. Hello, Dolcetto. Perfect wine for this occasion. All right, right in, I gotta try this eggplant parm. It's still crisp. Ah. Even sometimes when you order at a good restaurant, you don't get that level of crispness. Oh, the pulley cheese. That is a good bite. You can't buy eggplant parm this good. Oh, I like the center bites. They get a little soggy with the steam, with that cheese, with the fresh arugula, you know, that hit of lemon. I mean, it's just the perfect balance of flavors. And to top off our Italian date night menu, I'm gonna make a quick almond cake and serve it with fresh nectarines and a little whipped cream. Love what you're watching? Take your cooking to the next level with our Essential membership. Get instant access to thousands of recipes, tips, techniques, product reviews, and step-by-step videos. Our Members app allows you to search by ingredient, set dietary preferences, and save your favorite recipes. For those looking to level up, our newest feature, ATK Classes, offers more in-depth instruction led by ATK experts, so you can gain greater confidence in the kitchen. Start your free trial by visiting the App Store or going to americastestkitchen.com/YouTube today. To cap off our Italian dinner for two, I'm going to make individual little almond cakes. And you simply serve it with some confectioner's sugar and fresh fruit. Now it comes together easily in the food processor, so you gotta measure some things out ahead of time, starting with the flour. Now, as I mentioned, it's not a lot of flour. It's just 1/4 cup. And this is cake flour. Now, again, the difference between cake flour and all-purpose flour is that cake flour has less protein, so it makes less gluten, so you get a more tender crumb. That's why cakes are more tender than bread. All right, so 1/4 cup. Now we're gonna add some baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon, using my baby whisk. Whisk that together. That's for the dry ingredients. Next up, you just need 1 large egg. There we go. Now for the liquid, we're gonna use whole milk, and you just need 2 tablespoons. Now the milk and the vanilla extract go into the food processor at the same time, so I'm gonna measure the vanilla right into the milk. It's just 1/4 teaspoon. There we go. Now on for the butter. You just need 2 little tablespoons. I cut it up and it's been sitting at room temperature, so it's nice and soft. And the almonds, because it is almond cake after all. Haha. Here they are. Now I toasted these lightly. You notice they're not very dark. That's a good thing. If you make these very dark, the cake turns a little dry and crumbly. So this is a cup of sliced almonds. Gonna put it right into the food processor. There we go. In with the almonds goes the butter. and some sugar. And the amount of sugar isn't annoying. It's 7 tablespoons, right? 4 tablespoons would be 1/4 of a cup. 5 1/3 tablespoons would be 1/3 of a cup. 8 tablespoons would be 1/2 a cup, but no, 7, it's right in the middle of all those easy to measure amounts. So 7 tablespoons, just do it one at a time. Last ingredient is a pinch of salt right into the food processor. There we go. All right, now we're gonna grind all this up about 15 seconds until the almonds are nicely ground. Sometimes I give it a pulse, just so that any of the big pieces that are stuck to the side of the bowl just fall back into the blade. So not only is this grinding the almonds, it's also aerating the butter with the sugar, almost like creaming it. So it's kind of a twofer. Now I'm gonna show you the texture of these almond crumbs. You can see it's nice and finely ground. Now I've played around with different kinds of almonds. I started with whole, I even tried slivered, but I liked the slice almonds because they're sliced so thinly, they make a finer crumb. All right, lid back on. While it's running, we're gonna add the milk with the vanilla and the egg. At this point, you definitely wanna take a minute, scrub any crumbs stuck in the corner of the food processor work bowl. All right, now in go the dry ingredients. It's gonna sprinkle them in. All right, we're just gonna pulse this in really quickly, about 5 pulses. And that's it. There's a little bit of flour not mixed in, that's perfect. We're gonna finish it by hand. Let's get this blade out of here. All right, set this aside. Now you can see there's a little bit of flour not mixed in. Just using the spatula, clean up the sides of the bowl, get everything nice and incorporated. And that's it. I mean, this is the cake batter. All right, into the cake pans they go. These are the cutest little things. They're spring-form pans, but they're only 4.5 inches across, and they're perfect for making little treats for 2. And you can find them pretty easily at the craft store. You wanna make it as even as you can, but I have to say this cake is pretty forgiving. You do wanna clear up any drips though, because that'll kind of inhibit a nice even rise. All right. Give them a few wraps on the counter like this. That just helps any air bubbles stuck in the batter to come to the surface. That way you get a nice even rise. And they're ready for the oven. I'm gonna use the same little pan that I used for toasting the almonds. Right on the pan into a 350-degree oven. Takes about 25 to 30 minutes until they're golden brown and a toothpick comes out nice and clean. The cakes are baked and I've let them cool in their pans for about 10 minutes just to set up before unmolding them. Now we're gonna take off the sides. Now, sometimes they stick, sometimes they don't. And if they get a little sticky, you can take a paring knife and just run around the rim of the cake and the pan to just loosen it. Because again, we didn't spray or grease the sides of the pan. You want the cake to stick to the pan so you get an even rise. But I did grease the bottom so it would slide off. All right, let's take that out. There we go. And then, oh, yep, nice and easy. Oh, one looks a little bigger than the other, doesn't it? Wonder who's gonna get that one. All right, now I just need to let these cool completely. Takes about 30 minutes. The cakes have cooled for half an hour and now it's time to taste them. Now, one of these cakes is not like the other. One's definitely a little bigger. That'll be Ian's. But luckily, this recipe's pretty forgiving, so they baked pretty much at the same rate. So no worries there. I also whipped some cream and cut up some nectarines. Now, I'm gonna dust a little powdered sugar over the top. That's traditional. And here, just using a fine strainer. That's pretty classic. Now for the whipped cream, oh, hand whipped with just a little bit of sugar. Now for the fresh fruit. Any fruit works here. Nectarines are my personal favorite. Now these really stuck to the pit. That's okay. You can use a paring knife and just kind of ease them around the pit and slice them. Toss them with a little sugar so they could macerate a little bit. Berries are lovely here too. Mango would be nice if you're Marta. Miss Marta loves mangoes. But because this is for me, these are my favorite recipes, I'm gonna go with the nectarines. And that's it, it's a really simple dessert. Now I've put these on some of my favorite plates. This is my mother's wedding china, good old Royal Copenhagen. I love pulling them out, even if it's just a weekday and it's a simple dessert. It's just nice to be reminded who you're cooking for and kind of where you came from. All right, in for the cake. Oh yeah, see that? Oh, it's moist. It's just holding together. Little whipped cream. Oh, it has that lovely texture. Barely holds together. There's just enough flour and egg to bind it together, but it tastes just like pure almonds with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of vanilla. I mean, this is the epitome of an almond torte. Perfect for a date night. See you next time. If you're ready to take your cooking to the next level, head over to americastestkitchen.com and get a free trial of our ATK Essential membership. While you're there, you can sign up for our free email newsletters and download our app. So, what are you waiting for?